Even Fox News, with their trio of MAGA apologists, are getting sick of Jim, I'll meet you in my rec room, Jordan.
Well, look, I mean, at this point, American citizens are asking, what can you do about it? I mean, look, with all due respect, people are sick and tired of congressional investigations that go nowhere. People are sick and tired of letters being written and sent to the people who we know are bad in the first place. They want you to do something about it. You're an elected official. What can you do to right these wrongs?
For the last 18 months, Republicans have held the majority in the House. And what have they done? They've attacked both of their speakers, killed a conservative Republican senator's border deal, and launched an impeachment inquiry built on Russian disinformation that Comer and Jim, you want to wrestle in my basement, both knew was a lie. And in the process did something I thought was impossible, made MAGA look even worse than the slug-festering cornholes they are.
Well, we've passed legislation out of the committee that would help remedy this situation, particularly the one in New York. But the president or vice president can move a case to federal court for when you do these state prosecutors who are going after someone for a political reason. So we're a legislative branch. We can't put anyone in jail. And I don't think the Biden administration, their DOJ is going to go after the people who need to go after. You're just not going to get that from Merrick Garland. I mean, I asked the question a couple weeks ago. We don't know from the Biden administration who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th, who leaked the Dobbs draft opinion, the one that led to an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh, who put cocaine in the White House. We don't seem to get the answers to those questions.
That's Jim Jordan, sounding like a chipmunk on speed. I don't know, maybe he got hold of some of the coke at the White House or Barr Jr.'s stash.
Donald Trump Jr.'s on cocaine.
Maria Bartiromo pushed Jordan, but he can't bring himself to admit that, like Fat Donnie, he too is Putin's boy toy. He and Comer pressed on, attacking their president, knowing that the entire case was Russian disinformation and that every day their lies were broadcasted over Fox, like Pravda. The lies empowering red state cabbage heads to spread lies and propagate acts of violence like we saw on January the 6th. But here's a question. Is Fox going all in or beginning to hedge their bets?
There's a nifty chart floating around social media. Everyone should check it out. The U.S. has the highest post-pandemic growth in the G7 and the lowest inflation. All the countries we compare ourselves to, 13.1 million jobs created. So yes, all the ones that were lost during COVID came back, and then we're gaining jobs at a faster clip than we did under the Trump presidency. 800K in manufacturing. There are articles all over talking about the manufacturing boom.
Eventually, the impeachment inquiry went down like Lauren Boebert on the Titanic.
Iceberg, right ahead!
Exposing the disintegrating MAGA jamboree. At every point, Jordan and Comer were humiliated, and not just in the New York Times, but even on Fox freaking News.
Your party, the Republican investigators, say that that's proof of influence peddling by Hunter and James. But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts to that point. You've got some circumstantial evidence. And the other thing is, of all those names, the one person who didn't profit is there's no evidence that Joe Biden did anything illegally.
When it comes to FUBARs, Jordan and Comer are the masters. And I forgot to mention the defections from MAGA and the GOP House. First, there was George Santos, whose volume of lies made him a poster boy for MAGA.
Do you have no shame? Do you have no shame in the people who are now you're asking to trust you to go and be their voice for them, their families, and their kids in Washington?
Gone. Then conservative Ken Buck, who stuck it to Boebert by resigning early.
But really, we're at a time in American politics that I am not going to lie on behalf of my presidential candidate, on behalf of my party. And I'm very sad that others in my party have taken the position that as long as we get the White House, it doesn't really matter what we say.
And even more damaging is Republican Representative Turner's claim that Russia is in deep with the GOP.
Congressman McCall made a comment this week about what he says sounds like Russian propaganda from some conservative media and why it's so difficult to explain to Republican voters why supporting Ukraine is important. He told Julia Yaffe, quote, "I think Russian propaganda has made its way into the United States, unfortunately, and it's infected a good chunk of my party's base." He singled out primetime shows on conservative channels. Do you agree with him? And how big is this problem?
Oh, it is absolutely true. We see directly coming from Russia attempts to mask communications that are anti-Ukraine and pro-Russia messages, some of which we even hear being uttered on the House floor. I mean, there are members of Congress today who still incorrectly say that this conflict between Russia and Ukraine is over NATO, which of course it is not.
It's no mistake that Fox is bailing on Jordan and Comer. Neither one is good on TV, both looking like 12-year-old boys caught masturbating by their fathers. Not a good look.
What the hell did you just say?
And Fox wasn't born yesterday. Over the last decade, they've had to juggle their support for rapists, racists, misogynists, and fraudulent criminal acts. And that's just Trump.
Donald Trump was aware of everything that was going on.
Early on, Fox was worried that Trump and the rest of the deplorable's immoral actions might offend their audience.
The George Floyd thing, that was all set up too.
How was that set up?
That police officer didn't have his knee on the neck.
Did you see the video?
No, I didn't see the video. Just like I think January 6th is rigged too.
But it turns out their audience was not only not offended, but the demeaning and cruel words and actions boosted their ratings. They only fired Tucker Carlson after realizing they could find even greater morally reprehensible men for less. So Fox News had to re-examine their hiring practices, now looking for people with absolutely no moral compass who'll say anything to anyone anytime. But then came abortion, and Fox has no idea what they're doing. Are they pro-life or pro-choice? A year ago, abortion was murder. Now it's a state's decision. And tomorrow, they might execute you like your Kristi Noem's puppy. They have no moral backbone whatsoever. While Kari Lake, Trump, and the GOP walk back Arizona's law, the rest of America is ready to pounce, leaving Fox to say, can we talk about brown people at the border again? But as you know, the border is yet another screw-up for Jordan and MAGA. When Mike Johnson killed a comprehensive Republican Senate-backed bill on controlling the border simply because Trump asked him, it led to hard criticism from Republicans as diverse as Romney and the bill's sponsor, conservative Senator Jim Langford.
And there's lots of things that are out there that are just patently false. For instance, this ongoing thing that just allows 5,000 people in a day, every day, and checks them in. There's no way that's in the bill. Number one, I would never agree to that, but it's also just a total mischaracterization of the bill.
Now, as Fox tries this balancing act, on one hand pretending they have a soul, on the other supporting MAGA with this trio of fertilizers, they find themselves at a crossroads. If Trump loses, who will be their North Star? Madam Puppy Killer? Ron Book Burner DeSantis? Cray Kari Lake? The truth is, Trump is irreplaceable, but not in a good way. Tiny Fingers is like syphilis-flavored ice cream, and while MAGA lined up, the rest of us stood in shock. Trump's danger is his ability to grift, and when caught, he blames it on anyone, including his family, supporters, and the rest of America. His talent for the con is unparalleled, and that has Americans thinking hard.
Even though you were unhappy and scared in prison, you feel you were guilty of what the crime was.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The Democrats wanted this to be a communist country and that they were drinking baby's blood.
Did you believe that?
No, I thought that was kind of weird.
Okay. But did you believe that the Democrats wanted this to be a communist country?
Yes.
And especially Fox. When the history of the last 10 years is written, or as it is being written right now, Fox News will be the wagon train that was caught in Donner's past, with the ensuing cannibalism of a party that once stood for something. And even though that something was often disgusting and racist, the party had its good moments. And now Fox will have to make a decision. Who are you? Are you the ancestors of the men and women who created this experiment called America? Or are you selling tickets to Jim Jordan's basement?
You can't let that happen to me. Who's with me?
Hi, what's up?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Thank you so much for watching. You know, YouTube frequently penalizes my videos for taking on controversial subjects, hurting our ability to earn ad revenue, which we use to hire more hosts and make more videos. We think it's so important to make these videos now and expose a Republican cult. So please join us on Patreon. The link is in the comments. We literally can't make these without you. Thank you so much. For Really American Media,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.